Hi, everyone. Good day to you. Good morning, good afternoon, and or good evening, depending on where you are. I want to welcome you to yet another edition of the webinar that we've titled Test Drive by Scandium. And this webinar, like we've mentioned before, is set up to help you as a tester, to help you skill up, to help you acquire more skills, to help you get better as a tester, to provide you with access to opportunities, to provide you with the leverage to be a better tester. And we do this in a number of ways, some of which is to show you how to do some certain things with your code-based testing tool, and also show you how to do a lot of testing things with our no-code test automation tool, that is Scandium. Also, like we'll be doing on today's edition, we'll also be giving you certain tips and tricks on how to take your career to the next level as a software tester. So I do hope you will find this today's edition a fun one, an interesting one, and at the end of it, I seriously believe that you would have a lot of things to take away from it. So in a bit, I'll be introducing us to our guest speakers who would take us through the journey for today. So please sit tight and fasten your seatbelts. It is going to be a joyous and amazing ride. So give me a minute, please. So welcome back, everyone. As I promised earlier, we'll be getting started just now. So what are we looking at today on today's test drive? So we want to look at a very simple yet slightly complicated aspect of software testing, which is testing that has to do with file upload, selecting a file during your test and uploading the file. You can do this, you can achieve this with many of the code-based tools out there. Also with some of the no-code based tools. We'll be showing you how you can do this with Cypress, and how, in our usual fashion, you can achieve the same thing with Scandium without even thinking about it. So our agenda for today's session is how to test a file upload feature. This will be showing you with WordPress, with Cypress rather, and automating the same thing with Scandium. And also we have our guest speaker, Olua Pelumi Amuzu, who is a very seasoned QA tester. Talk to us about one or two things, then we'll take your question and feedback afterwards. So a short intro into our guest speakers before I hand over completely to them. In-house with us, we have Idoren Anko, who is a senior quality assurance analyst. He's one of the baddest software testers I've ever worked with. Also, who I like to call my senior software tester, Oluwapelumi Amuzu, who is also one of the baddest QA automation engineer I've ever worked with. I will love for you to hear from them, just like I've always heard from them. So I'll be handing over to our first guest speaker, Anchor, to get started with us. Please, we want to go on this journey with you.
Okay, thanks, Sadiq. Hi, guys. Sadiq, I didn't like all that washing. It's when you're washing me. Which one is the baddest? Which one is the baddest tester? Okay. Yeah, it's cool. It's chill to have you guys in another session. I think the first one was cool. I got some nice feedback from the first one, but as Sadiq has said, right, we will be taking the second session today, and today we're talking about like file uploads, and in my journey as a quality assurance engineer, I have discovered that a few people have issues testing file uploads and checking for things. And even when you're automating some of these automation tools, there are issues with file uploads. And also, file uploads was one of the features that our users, I mean, some of the Scandium users really requested for. So, um, so without further ado, right, we're going to start talking about understanding the file upload feature. So here we're focusing mainly on the web feature. So um, the file upload, as explained, is a feature on the web that allows you to upload files, any type of file, right, from your computer, from your local device. You can upload whether it's XML, whether it's an XML document, whatever kind of file, right, is allowed for you to upload the feature on the web there, the file upload feature that allows you to upload your file. And how does it work, right? If you For those that are conversant with HTML and CSS and all that, right? There's the input tag that has a type of file. I mean, we have different input types, right? But the type that allows you to run this file upload is the type of that has the name file as you're seeing that specified, right? So that is what enables you to upload whatever documents that you want to upload on the on the application that you're testing, right? And then you can also send a post request to the server to persist the documents or to upload the document to save it in the database or whatever. All right. So the next thing, after understanding the file upload feature, right, then as a quality assurance engineer or analyst, right, you're not building an application. You work there is to test. So how do you test them? What are the things that you watch out for when you want to test an application that has a file upload, or you want to test the file upload feature? So the first thing is, carrying out the basic usability test in whatever application that you're executing a test on. You need to carry out the usability test. Is it easy for the users to identify this upload? Do users understand? Are you passing a message to the user properly that, oh, you want them to upload a file? And are you passing a message about or concerning the file type that they should upload, right? To avoid users going forward and backward, because some file upload features, right, they just tell you upload your file, but they don't go the extra extent of specifying the file types that are acceptable. This is going to help save the user's time. That's number one, and also save you times on making unnecessary calls based on validations and all that. So it's cool, and it's advisable for you to specify the file type that is being uploaded, that you want to be uploaded to your application. Next thing is executing a functionality test. Testing if the application test checks all these file types, the only acceptable file types, and also check for the file limits. People can go and upload a whole movie, right? And you don't want to know what's going to happen to your application, right? So you have to specify file limits. So you check, you use your boundary analysis, try to upload documents that are above the threshold and see how the application responds to it. You also check that, the file that you've uploaded has been successfully uploaded. You can do a query to the database, or if there are endpoints that are available for you to check that, you can just do a GET request and check if the document that you uploaded is actually there. And it's also because when we go to the aspect of security, you know why why it is good to check database for the documents that was uploaded. Or I mean, I'm going there. Then you also check how the system handles, I mean, interruptions in file upload. Sometimes you may trying to upload a file, and then there might be network issues, or you yourself can just like refresh the page, right? So you can check how all those are being handled by the application. So the next thing you also want to check out for is doing a basic performance test. How does the application scale when you have many concurrent users trying to upload their documents? Let's say maybe like on the NYC portal, right? See, sometimes I mean, for those that have gone for, when once you want to go for service, they'll say sometimes that, oh, the server did down, or oh, this one, oh, application did down, or come back in a few seconds. Because sometimes they're trying to upload multiple files, trying to upload this and that and that and that. So you need to carry out a basic performance test to see how the application is able to scale while multiple users are trying to upload the application. Then the next thing is carrying out a security test, to confirming that the specified file type is actually what is being accepted by the server end. So if you're carrying out some security test, right, and then you're doing like a basic interception, right, trying to intercept the request. I mean that is outside the scope of this, but I would have demoed it to you if it wasn't within the scope. So if you send a file, I can send a file that is let's say um some I can send a malicious file, right? And then I can intercept the request and then just add a funny append the file type such that it will camouflage and let the server accept it. Meanwhile, that's a malicious file. If you can send like a PHP file or something. So once the application cannot check properly, right, that file has been uploaded to the system, and then whatever the hacker there can now, access that file and then take out the extension and then execute some malicious script in your application. So you need to carry out a security test acceptable format, like for file is that is being accepted by the application. So having given us, I mean, the basics on how to carry out your test, I mean that these are like manual tests you need to carry out and checks that you need to, look out for. Then we can go ahead to just demo a file upload to automate a file upload on the application, right? Um so here we would demo this using Scandium. So Sadiq, probably take it from here.
Okay, thank you, Anchor. So are you now going to show us how to then do a file upload with one of your code-based tool, say Cypress or Selenium, quickly
Yes,
so our audience sees something?
I would use Scandium. Scandium supports that, so I would just use Scandium to show us how that is done.
All right.
Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, so first things first, right? I'll just let us go get okay, let me just share my entire screen so that's because I'm going to be going from a browser to browser and stuff, so everybody could just see what's going on. Okay, so first things, there's this demo site where we will just have a file upload being demoed. So here I'll go to the forms. There's a practice form here that has a file upload here where we can upload a file. So we'll just use this demo website. Okay, so here I'll just come download a random picture from online from here, and I'll just save this as a demo picture. Okay, so let's go to Scandium. Okay, So I mean, we already demoed last time how you could do all this. So I'm just going to go to the tests and show us how to do this. I'll create a new folder called the file upload demo. Okay, then this is it. So I'll create a new test here. I have this already. Sorry, give me a sec. Okay, so okay, I think I was missing the extension. All right, I'm gonna do file upload. So what I did was just to get the extension. I don't think I had the extension on this browser. So I just got the Scandium extension that was here on the Chrome Web Store, and it got added. So if I should check my extensions, I'll see Scandium here. Okay, cool. So the website was demo site. So let me just get the URL and I'll drop it here. Cool. And then let me just start a recording. Okay, let me close this and reopen it. So let me navigate back to that folder and create a new test. File upload. Okay. So I click on the record. I mean, you can see it's recording. It's navigated to the, if I open the settings here, you can see that it's navigated to the demo QA bar automation practice form, right? Cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill this form and then upload a random file. So I'll just say tester Scandium test.com mail, random phone number, date of birth here, test, subject, hobbies, reading. Okay, sorry. Select a picture. So I'll just select this demo picture that we had and just say test, fill this. Okay, so I mean, what we're looking out for is the demo picture here, right? And then I would, I think I can stop the test now. So I'll stop this test and save, right? So I'll just replay this. So it's replaying now. You can see how the details are, I mean, have been imputed again. So you can notice here that the same picture that I had uploaded is here. So it's the application is asking me the application tool that we're using to run this test is asking me to check the dashboard. So I'll just check the dashboard and we see that everything is passed, right? So because this is just a demo website, right? We can't do all the queries and all that and all that, and there are no tests to to check for the acceptable file types and all that. But if you're running a real test, right, you have different scenarios and you create different tests where you are going to be uploading different file types. And these are JPEG. So the acceptable file types you're going to upload that. You have file types that exceed the limits. And if you're running a security test, right, you can use a tool like Zap or Bob Shoot to intercept this, to send the file, intercept this request, and then camouflage it to be such that the kind of file that is accepted by the server, and then send it to the server to see if it's going to be accepted. So I think this is just a demo to show you how you can also do this with Scandium. If you go to if you expand the select file step, which is actually this one, right? You would see the actual file that you had uploaded here. I mean, this is selector, but you see the actual file that you uploaded here. So that is another advantage here, that you can see the file that you actually uploaded and be sure that it was the actual one. So that is that. The SDK, I think I would send it. I would move the session over to you now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Anchor. It looks like Scandium indeed does make life easier. And I mean, I was expecting file selection and upload to be something very complicated and something that would take a very long while. Uh, However, I would say I'm pleased with what I see. To the members of our audience, I know you probably have a lot of questions to ask, but I would say kindly hold on to your questions for now. We'll take questions at the end of the entire thing when both speakers have spoken. So, in about a minute now, I'll be calling on our next speaker, Oluwapelumi Amuzu Benjamin, to come talk to us about some career arcs for software testers, how you can skill up and things like that. So I am very sure, just like we've enjoyed Anchor's session, we are very much going to enjoy Benjamin's talk as well. So in about a minute, Benjamin comes up. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Good morning. Thank you, Sadiq, for that, and thank you, Idorehi, for the previous session. I hope I got the name right. But yeah, thank you guys for the sessions or for the introduction so far. Hi everyone. My name is Oluwakolumi Benjamin Amuzu. Let me have my camera on, even if it's just for a bit. Yeah, so welcome to the second part of today's session, where basically I'll be covering sort of like QA as a journey in very little time. Um, Without further ado, I would get straight right into it. I'll be sharing my screen. Mm, One second. Okay. Please let me know when you can see my screen.
Yeah, your screen is up. We can see.
Okay. So I've kind of like titled this quality assurance engineering path. Once again, my name is Benjamin Amuzu. And yeah, let's get into it. So we have a few items to cover, what it means to be a QA, the mind of a QA, some QA career tracks, mentorship, and the second pathway of childhood, or the last pathway of childhood, 50 to 100. Getting straight right into this, what does it mean to be a QA? To be a QA means different things to different people. Usually, when you ask maybe of interviews and the likes, what does it mean to be a QA? You get very different reactions. But for me, it's one thing. To be a QA means I'm here to give confidence. It means I'm on a product to give confidence. What do I mean by being giving confidence? So basically, there are reasons. Not every company has a QA. Let's start from there. Or not every company hires a QA. If a company goes and um, looks for a person to handle their quality assurance, there are certain reasons why. And most of the time, is because they are looking for reasons to be confident in that product or in that application. They are looking for reasons um, to ascertain the fact that their product stands out, or their product meet certain criteria or requirements. So this implies as a quality assurance that we use testing means to ascertain quality, because quality also means different things to different companies or different products. To some companies, quality just means our product works. We can take it to the market and we can sell. To some other people, quality means, oh, that my engineering team is top notch, that my engineers are writing the best of codes and their codes meet all the requirements. So quality means different things to different people, different companies, and to different products. But at the end of the day, the purpose of a QA is to be able to give confidence. They need to be able to talk to the QA and be able to feel the energy and be like, oh yeah, we have the very best product, or our product can compete with what is already in the market. One thing I also tell people is never forget the tight knot between the business goals and quality assurance. To be a quality assurance engineer, you work for a business, you work for a product, or you service a product, you test a product. But that product is also tied to business goals. The product requirements came about or came about because of business goals. So it's important that you can always tie whatever you're doing to that. You're testing a certain feature now, for instance, and you lose track or you go or you stray away. So it's always important that you can find your way back and never forget that there are business goals tied to whatever it is you're doing. And one thing that, or some certain things that always come across when we're dealing with quality assurance, things around process guidelines and documentation. So it's always important, or people always want that every successful QA activity has a process to it, a process that is reusable. Let me also state that. We do a sprint now. There's a process for how we test. That process, we can repeat it across sprints and also generate the same results. So that process could have guidelines, and of those guidelines and process, we could have documentation. Now, when I say documentation, I'm speaking to test cases, test plans, test documents, test strategy, test data, and the likes. Next off for me is the mind of a QA. I'm sure we have different levels of QA on this call already. We have guys that are just starting. We have guys that have been doing this for years. We have the very experienced QAs. But one thing is constant, I always speak about, is the mind of a QA. The mind of a QA is one of unique blend of analytical thinking, attention to detail, and a strong commitment to ensuring the highest levels of quality in every aspect of a product or service. So it's always important that you come into, you don't approach as a QA, you don't approach testing or testing of a product like you already know it. You approach every test like a newbie. Yes, you have a process for how you want to test, but you don't go with, oh, I know this test is going to pass, or oh, I know this test is going to fail. You approach it with an open mind. Every test you do teaches you something. So it's always important that as a QA, you're very teachable. You're a great team player. I always say that. We run into scenarios where we hear people talking about how, oh, when you were on the QA team, everybody always fights with the QA. QA is coming, run away, all those sort of scenarios. That is not you being the best team player. I won't say being a good team player, but that's not you being the best team player. When you're a good QA, the devs even want you to test their code. They want you to test their features and all of those, because they also want to be better. They understand that QA makes them better, it makes the product better. So it's always important that QA is a great team player. And lastly, before I move to the next slide, a QA must always be customer centric, because at the end of the day, you were hired for the engineers, but your main customer is not the engineers. Your main customer is both the business and your external customers, the end goal. Your external customers could be customers per se, that's if you're in a B2C, or it could be business if you're in a B2B. I hope, let me stress that, or let me take that again. So your main goal is to service the business by giving confidence, never forget that, but also the person you're supposed to satisfy endlessly is the customer outside. because at the end of the day, they use the products, they use the services, they bring in the fund to the business. So in mind of a QA, like I said, must be one that of a person that has great attention to detail, critical thinking. You see beyond just what they want you to see. So, if, for instance, let me give you a scenario. I always tell guys, for instance, in teams that I lead, that when you need insights into a feature or into a ticket, that try not to seek that feature or seek that information, context. That's what we call it here. So context, try not to seek context from the engineers. Look for context from the product person or from the business person, because that way you properly understand what it is that the engineers were meant to implement. An engineer will only tell you what he implemented. He will explain it to you the way he understands it, but he is not the root cause. The root itself is either that product requirement document or that business person. So it's always important that you go to the root of affairs when it comes to testing. Next on my slide will be me covering a few career tracks. So basically, there are many ways to get into QA or to start off QA, but you end up doing most of these things on my screen. So you either start off being a manual QA engineer. That would mean that you are testing features through manual processes. And manual means mostly, I always tell guys that even if you're an automated engineer, everybody got into QA by being a manual QA engineer, first and foremost. And I'm even saying this, or I'm going as far as to say this for guys that even got into QA through engineering. I kind of like fall into that line, because for you to be an outstanding QA engineer, you must be familiar with those manual means. There are just certain insights into testing that you would not get if you jump straight into automation. You will only get them when you come from the manual side of angle of things. So there's the manual QA engineer, there's the automation QA engineer. This will mean that you're testing product, services, applications through automated means using tools like Scandium. Then there's the product QA engineer. This is sort of like a dual role. It's kind of you being both a product person and a QA engineer. And it's something I always say, really, every QA engineer really is a product person also, because you being a QA means you have to digest things from a product perspective and execute from a QA perspective. So you digest like a product person, you take in requirements, you take in objectives, but you test like a QA person. So there's the senior developer engineering test. This is a senior role that involves you going beyond just writing integration testing. So let me come back a bit. So as an automation QA engineer, 90% of the time, what you'll be doing is let me say in a strict role that sticks to that job title. What you'll be doing 90% of the time is writing automated tests for integration purposes. So you are testing end to end. Use this tool and you test the product end to end to be sure that features work. But as a senior developer engineering test, you can go the extra mile. It might require you to go to extra mile and go as far as writing unit tests, writing let me stick with unit tests, writing unit tests, testing code blocks individually to be sure that they pass across. There's also the performance test engineer. Here your main focus is on the performance of an application. When we say performance in QA, we mean making sure that uptime of an application is very close to 100%. And basically that application or that product is always at utmost performance in terms of load, in terms of stress, and the likes. Lastly, here I have the security test engineer. Now, this is from a security standpoint. Is you doing QA from a security standpoint? What that means basically is you as a QA engineer are assuring the security features of an application, making sure that you are not open to hackers, and basically securing data. Because at the end of the day, when hackers come, besides just destroying your product, what they're after is your data. So your data security, you're ensuring that the product and the platform itself is very much stable from a security standpoint. One way to achieve this is ethical hacking and the likes. Next up, I will be talking about mentorship and the ecosystem. So you growing as a QA engineer is, let me even come back and say that you being a QA engineer is one of the best career journeys that you can have in terms of software development and the likes. What I mean by this is there are, let me look at the SDLC as a whole. So we have the engineers, front end, back end, DevOps. Let me just use those three. Then we have the product person, product owner. We have, in most scenarios, the engineering manager or CTO. Then we have a quality assurance engineer or engineers. This role, the role you play is, I had a boss one time that I used to call QA engineers the gatekeepers. That is, let's just go with it for now. I just say QA engineers are like gatekeepers, meaning that you're the last stop. You are the Avengers, let me put it like that. You are the last call, and you are the last person that asserts that certain features, products, or whatever the case may be is good to go. So whether you're just starting out or you're looking to advance in your career, it's important to have some sort of mentor, some sort of guide, some sort of support, and helps in your growth process. So it's always very important because some of us early on, we didn't have, when we started the QA journey, there was no, the way you have the Scandium community, the bug detective community and the likes, the way they exist now, there are a lot of QA ecosystems that you can be a part of where you can find mentors. There are a lot of guys, now LinkedIn is very prominent where you can go on LinkedIn and make use of the search and just find guys and that have done this for years or decades. And I mean, I think a lot of guys usually don't know that there are QA engineers in Nigeria in this space that have been QA engineers for over 10 years. So I'm saying guys have been doing QA since before 2013. 2013, I'm sure a lot of us know where we were in 2013. So guys have been doing this for decades, and there are guys with so much experience that can fast track your growth. I never had a mentor when I started where I am now. Thank God for that. But I'm sure that if I had a mentor, I would be like, what you achieved in 4 years, if you did on your own, a mentor can help you shrink that into 2.5 years. But like I said, I had some pointers here. First of all, it's very important that you're straightforward and you identify your goals. What is the purpose of you having a mentor? What do you want a mentor to help you achieve? It's also important to network in this space. It's a very, I would say it's still a small space. We're quite a lot already. We're getting quite much, but it's still a small space. Usually, when you meet a QA engineer that networks, you know somebody that knows somebody somewhere. You know a QA somewhere, or you know a QA that knows a QA, that kind of thing. So make your intentions clear. What's the purpose of you seeking out that mentor? It's also very important that you're inquisitive and you ask questions. And also in the mentorship process, stay committed. Because in mentorship programs that I've done before, it's very easy to drop off and be like, oh, okay, I've gotten all I could possibly get. And that's the purpose of a mentor. A mentor is someone that has seen the journey already or has gone farther, way farther than you. So don't at every point start to feel like maybe after you've been on that mentorship journey for a couple of years. Now, don't get me wrong, a mentorship journey is not an eternal something, but it's something whereby don't ever feel or get to that point where you feel like, I don't need this mentor again. Well, let me cut ties here. We're done here. So a mentorship journey is a constant thing and it grows. As you are also growing, that your mentor himself is also growing. So it doesn't stop there. I've also seen situations whereby mentors, after a certain while, hand you over to another person. It's like, oh, okay, this is as far as I feel like I can come with you. Let me hand you over to this person. I feel he's the right person for you now. And that's another like subject matter when we talk about like picking the right mentor and stuff like that. So lastly on my slide, if you notice in the beginning, I titled it the Q engineer path, 0 to 50. Then there's a 50 to 100. The 50 to 100 is you. The 50 to 100 is you deciding your growth, you deciding how far you want to go. A lot of people start this journey and they don't see to the end. A lot of people drop off along the way for different reasons. I'm not here to point fingers, but it's always important that you stick with it from the beginning to the end that we don't even know. So that's it. There are guys on this call that have been engineers or Q engineers for years, and they still grow on this path because trust me, QA is very wide. QA is very interesting. So growth has to be constant. 5 years in, and we're still pushing. Guys here that have been doing this thing for 5, 10 years, and they're still pushing. QA doesn't stop. There's always something to test. There's always better ways to test. There are always processes to improve. There are always engineers to grow. So it doesn't stop and it keeps growing. Without further ado, that would be it from me. I don't know if there are any questions. That would be my time for now. Thank you, guys.
Wow. Thank you very much, Benjamin. I would say I am inspired and I am motivated. Can everybody please help us appreciate our speakers with some rounds of applause? Yes, I'm sure we have a lot of questions. I'm sure there are one or two things we want to ask from both speakers. But then before the questions start rolling in, I would like to quickly ask a question. My question goes to Benjamin. So if I get a mentor, what I am supposed to achieve, say going alone for like 4 years, can I find a mentor that will help me achieve it in like 2 weeks?
Impossible.
Okay, that was just on a light note. So yes, getting a mentor is very important. I mean, not even just for QAs, but then for a career in general. I would say I am inspired. I'll probably leave the work I'm doing currently and maybe want to become a QA or automation engineer. So that said, I would like for our audience to start asking their questions now. Like I said, for either of our speakers, they would definitely love to take your questions. So we can do that for the next 5 to 10 minutes before we start looking at rounding up. So questions and feedback for our speakers. Okay, while people start to cook up their questions, I have a question yet again. So I would want to ask, I think this could be answered by any one of our speakers. So in the SDLC, who has the biggest responsibility or blame when there's a bug in production? Is it the engineering team or is it the QA team? Who can we apportion the biggest portion of the blame to for letting a bug slip into production? Is it the engineer who wrote the code that has bug, or the QA who failed to catch the code that has bug? So that's my question. We have another question from John Chima. So Chima, please unmute your mic and speak, please.
Good morning. Good morning, presenter. Good morning, Benjamin and the test drive team. I appreciate you guys so much for coming up with this initiative. This is something I've been pushing for. You know, we have a lot of newbies in the QA field, and they are going through a lot of challenges in terms of finding their career path in as a QA tester. Yes, let me go straight to my question. I have two questions actually, one for Benjamin and one for, I can't pronounce the first guy's name.
Uncle is fine.
Yeah, okay. For Benjamin, you know, there's one major challenge, you know, newbies, you know, encounter, you know, joining as a QA. And can you outline those challenges? And two, what efforts is the Association of Software Testers Nigeria, put in? Last year I was part of the team. I saw some drives initiative, to bring on board young testers. But this year it has been so calm, so quiet. I want us to, fire this up. So if you as a mentor, how can you, what can you do to, introduce, young school leavers, NYC graduates, and so on into this field? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, John Chima. Thank you for your question. So firstly, you spoke about challenges that guys face. So there are a lot of issues that come into. Let me not even stick to being a Q engineer. Let me start from being or trying to pick a path in engineering from the very beginning. What do I mean? From the very beginning, trying to be a Q engineer, or trying to be an engineer, first of all, there is the issues that the country presents, first of all, to us. We know of those issues themselves. And I mean, 80-90% of people in this call are in Nigeria. So we know the challenges that are faced, from the power issues to good network issues. Those issues persist to issues that are specific to a QA engineer, for instance, finding the right material to learn from, finding the right mentor, choosing the right path. Because, like I said, QA engineer is very wide. You could have the experience to go straight into automation. You might want to start from being a manual engineer. So having to make those decisions, which is why I spoke about the ecosystem, because I always feel it's best to be in an ecosystem. They help to make these decisions and help to guide those decisions. And even if for some reason later on there's a need to switch, you have an ecosystem that can support you. Because usually I've seen guys that switch from maybe QA to DevOps, and they're like, maybe after a while, they're like, I just wasted 4 months of my life. Why did I even start that one? All of that. But when you grow, you begin to realize that no knowledge is wasted. The knowledge you gain from being a QA, you can apply to being a DevOps engineer. The knowledge you gain from being a front end, you can apply to being a QA. I didn't start off as a QA engineer. I used to be a backend engineer. Then I switched to QA. And I know the advantage it presents for me when, like, it helps. Like, let me even just digress a bit. Let's say when it comes to things like debugging, I immediately understand when an issue is a front end issue or a back end issue. I know to point to when it's fixed to a database issue. You get, so no knowledge is wasted in this space. Now, as regards how we are helping guys or newbies come into the system, that's why we have programs like this. That's why we've volunteered or come together to hold talks like this. Like I said, there are so many more that are available out there. There's the bug detective. It's so many, I can't even remember all the names right now, and they're always there. I know of a QA seminar that is happening, and I think it's next week, where like for QA girls that are coming into QA. So it's like a girl-centered program, sort of that, like that. There are so many initiatives. So I think first and foremost, it's important that we go looking. What you don't look for, you can't see. So it's important that you go looking, and lastly, you don't lose the drive, because that's very key. There are so many reasons to be discouraged. That's the truth. Now I'm talking even way beyond QA. There are so many. I mean, we could all choose to just be on our beds this morning and sleep away our day. I mean, why come here and use our internet, use our power supply to come here? So there are so many reasons to not do it. But whatever, that one reason will be fine to keep going. Let's just hold on to that reason and let it be our drive. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Benjamin.
Yeah. I didn't remember. Hi, Sadiq. Sorry, your question about who.
Yes, who carries the biggest blame when there's a bug in production?
Okay, so this opens a hole into so many questions. So, for instance, when things go right, who should get the biggest praise? When the same way you said, when things go wrong too, who should get the biggest blame? Let's never forget, it's always a team effort. Every team always has the superstar, but it is still a team effort. This is where ownership and responsibility comes in. For instance, if there's a bug in production, I don't even need anybody to put blame on me. I myself am concerned about the fact that, wait, there's a bug in production and it went through me and it passed through me. If it did, so that already puts that is already me showing a sense of ownership and trying to look for ways to make sure that doesn't occur again. So it's not until there is blame being passed around. It's just about team ownership and commitment. I always say something to people that as a QA, just know you are doing a good job when they, in quotes, forget you. They don't even remember that they have a QA. That means you are doing a good job, because usually is when problems arise. That's when where's the QA guy? Where's the QA guy? They might not even know your name. You just be saying QA guy. So if they forget you and things are fine, just know you are doing a good job. Don't wait till you get that validation from your team members and the likes. Like, just take it yourself. Yep.
All right. Thank you very much. We have run out of time for questioning. However, we have our Slack community that will be dropping link for. You can join in to continue the conversations, to ask questions, to network and meet similar people like you, that is software testers, even some software engineers. You'll find them in the community. So my name is Sadiq. Sadiq Elisoji. Yes, I am the CTO at Scandium. And at Scandium, what do? We are building what I can say with confidence, and very proud to say, the first and the only test automation tool from Africa, from Nigeria, that allows you test without having to write code. We practically exist to make life easier for you as a software tester. So we are a product-led company, and what this means for us is we take your feedback, we try to get what you want, what you need to continue to use to improve the product. We still have a long way to go together with you. It is going to be a very, very interesting journey for us and for you. So I'll be dropping the link to the Slack community in the chat box, and join the community. You can message me, you can message the channels in public, ask your questions, make feature requests, even complain about the product if you're using the product. Also, I am very sure you'll find a lot of value in Scandium. Use us, advocate for us within your organizations, be a part of a very big success story. I'm very sure if you try out using Scandium now, you'll find that it does a lot of things that you want to do, and those things that you think it cannot do at the moment, you can always make requests. I would also give a very big shout out to the rest of my team members at Scandium for making Test Drive possible, and a very big appreciation to our guest speakers as well, Benjamin and Anchor, and also a very big appreciation to you, the audience, for joining in. I mean, without you, there's no reason why we would be here. So on this note, till we hold another webinar session again, I would say bye from me and bye from my team. Thank you all for coming. We really appreciate your presence.